Pro linebacker for the Buccaneers, Levante David. Long time no see. Last time we saw each other, we were in person talking smell and salt. It's great to see you. Congrats on wrapping up year 14.
Yes, appreciate you. Like you always say, man, always good to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Of course, and I know you want to analyze some stuff. You've got great connections to these Super Bowl teams, and we're going to do that. But can I show you my favorite play of the year from you?
For sure. Let me see it.
What do you think it is? Here it is. Take it away.
My favorite blitz. A certain blitz that we got called, kind of like a readed blitz based on the back. And, one of my favorite ones, I always come home with it. This should have been a sack fumble, man. It got for me to get a chance to, kind of trifecta, the sack, the fumble, and the fumble recovery, but they didn't give it to me. It kind of sucks. But that was a big change in momentum play in the game, and I'm very proud of that one.
First play of the fourth quarter, you're downplaying it. I think Mac Jones remembers it, probably still has nightmares about it to this day. You're the active leader in fumble recoveries by a lot.
Yeah.
But what do you mean? You have 7 more than TJ Watt. That's a lot.
That's something I didn't know about. You know what I'm saying? Throughout this whole season, there's a bunch of stats that I didn't know about, and people would just, throw them out to me and things like that. But, I don't keep track of them and everything, but
yeah,
I'm just blessed for it, you know what I'm saying? Like, it goes to show, I've been balling.
Yes, you have, and we'll talk about that more. I have a feeling you kept tabs on this one. People are telling you stats you don't know. But I'm pretty sure you know what happened in Week 18. Huge milestone.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I know that one. I know that for sure. Throughout the season, people was, kind of like in my ear telling me about it and stuff like that, keeping track of it, especially family. They telling me about everything. So,
we're talking, for those who don't know, you tied Hall of Famer Derek Brooks for the that's unbelievable with what you're doing. The last in tackles, I believe. There you go. 1,714, the last one you just saw in the fourth quarter, that hugely important game. When it happened, what did you think? What does this feel like?
When it happened, Sharon Corals came over and told me, he was like, man, you just tied the record for Derek Brooks. And, we were on the bench and all the guys heard him. So, after that, they wanted me to get back on the field some way, somehow, to be able to break the record. But, I'm blessed. I'm pleased with what transpired above it all, you know what I'm saying? Be able to tie him, a legend in his own right is an incredible feat.
And you've always spoke so highly about him, to me, to everyone, and what he's meant to you. I just feel like we can't end this on a tie.
Yeah. Hey, that's funny because a lot of people have been saying that, but, ultimately, it's my decision. I'll figure it out. If it's a tie, it is what it is. If not, either way, I'm kind of happy, satisfied, to be honest with you.
You've had 3 straight one-year deals. You said after the season, I'm going to take some time to think about it. Can you take me through, as much as you'd like, your thoughts the past 3 weeks?
Oh, man. First and foremost, disappointed, that we didn't get a chance to make the playoffs, but it's our fault. It's our fault. We can't blame nobody but ourselves. The way the year ended, the last 8-9 games, the 8-9 game stretch that we had after starting 6-2 was kind of like disappointing, to say the least. But definitely after the end of the year, I have my conversations with Jason and Coach Bowles and my position coach. And, just go from there. Ultimately, they always leave it in my hands, as the past 3 years, 1-year deal. So it's always up to me and what I want to do. And, so far, I just been chilling. I'm back home. I took my little girl to school today. I'm having fun with that. And, adulting a little bit, running some errands, doing different things around the house and stuff like that. But, football, I'm always have love football. Football always going to be there. I've been watching the playoffs, obviously. Ready to, sit down and watch the Super Bowl with friends and family. I think I might host a Super Bowl party at my crib, but, that's still to be determined.
Are you cooking something? What is that going to look like on Super Bowl Sunday?
No, I have stuff catered. It'd be too many people. Once it get to 10 plus, I ain't doing no cooking. I have the catering and stuff like that. But all in all, I'm just relaxing, letting my body heal, and see where I go from there.
Do you feel differently around Super Bowl right now than you did last year as far as what your future holds? Because you've had this, and it is up to you, and you've earned that. You know, when it comes to what you're feeling, how you're feeling, whether or not you want to come back for year 15, does it feel different than what you felt like going into last year?
I wouldn't say a big difference. You know, it's just, last year, I didn't have, certain things I went through last year. I didn't have, I wasn't really say like, I know just the Washington game when we played in the playoffs, I was kind of like obviously pissed about that because I felt like we should have won that game. So I was a little more motivated, I would say, to come back. And, but, this year it's still motivating, but definitely different things, take place now because of, certain factors that I've, accounted.
I'm guessing, and Todd Bowles is coming back, which is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
If he wasn't coming back, would you already know that you're not coming back? Like, how is he tied to you, right?
I
think if he didn't come back, I think you might leave.
Yeah, if Bowles wasn't coming back, it was no shot, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Tell me more about that.
Yeah, that's a fact. Just me and Bowles just had that relationship. That's my guy, man. I've got extremely comfortable with him, comfortable with his defense, and just our relationship is just, just like that from a player-coach relationship. That's something that I always wanted, the past, 7 years I've been working with him. It's been really, really, fun and a joy just to understand his football knowledge. And for me, being in year 14 and still learning things about football that I thought, most people probably like, oh, I have it all figured out. But every year he's teaching me something new, every time. And him as a man, as a person, man, he's everybody in the locker room love him. Obviously, the media and the fans give him a hard time because he's not, he don't have you don't see no character out of him. But, we see it all. So that's why we love him, man. It definitely wouldn't have been a different talk if he wasn't coming back. But, that's my guy. You know what I'm saying? We have constant communication, and he'll be one of the first people to know what my decision would be.
I feel like DeMario came on my show, DeMario Davis, this week, and I asked him about when are we redoing the deal, because he's such a saint, and he's doing the right thing and saying, I'm coming back to the NFL. And I actually kind of started crying because I can't explain it. It was just like, when you ask a question, I know what the answer is going to be. And there was no world in my head where he was going to say, yeah, I want to test the market. There just wasn't. And I was I truly was speechless. And then I look at you and I want to ask kind of the same question, is there any world where you'd play for a different team if you decide to come back for year 15?
To be honest with you, I don't think so. It was Bucs or no else. I played my 14-year career with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and they've been real. They've been loyal to me. The fans have been real loyal to me. My family grown to love the city. They know everybody in the building. I know everybody in the building. Relationships with the guys that I built throughout my career, and especially those young guys that I built a relationship with. I don't think, me being somewhere else probably won't feel right. I don't know if I'll be able to take it serious enough, and stuff like that. It probably feel awkward, feel weird because, I know the ins and outs of that building at one Buck, and me walking to another city, walking to another building, it'd be a different aspect for me, different training grounds for me, and I don't think I could be able to being this late in my career. I don't think I could be able to withstand that. But I'm a Buck, man. They've been loyal to me all these years, and it's gonna continue to be like that.
And if you go there anywhere else, you can't break Derek Brooks' record. That's truly that's the most important part, right? You got to stay in Tampa to do that thing.
But that's in the back of my mind. Like I said, I'm not really thinking about that.
No, I think it should be. I'll keep it right here for you. I want to ask you before we get to Super Bowl 60 and get some analysis out of one of the greatest to ever do it. Baker Mayfield. So I'm there. I come to Tampa. We're talking smelling salts and how everything's great. We're celebrating the 50th year. We're Super Bowl. The division isn't enough. Baker looked so good to start the season. I was a buka and all the things. I looked so smart because I was they're going. And then there's a lot of takes. There's a lot of criticism, whatever, about what happened in the second half. I can't figure it out. I don't have a good take on what happened. Can you, like, did y'all run out of smelling salts on the offensive side of the building? Like, what happened with Baker down the stretch?
Just a lot of factors that goes in with football. Just the main thing is injuries all across the board, from the offensive line to the back end to the skill guys, and for himself. So it's just hard to deal with that, to continue to play at an extremely high level. And defensively, we didn't help him out as much as we should. We was on the field too as well. But what you saw out of Baker is what you're gonna get up from Baker, man. He's a complete dog. That first half of the season. He's a complete dog, playing healthy and controlling the offense, being high-powered. That's what he is.
Yeah.
And I feel like things would be different. Obviously, it's not an excuse and everything, but things would be different if, we were consistent with, with the guys on the field and, everybody just being healthy and, being, at least close to 100%. But
it's so true.
That's just the way it is.
He had like 5 different injuries he was dealing with. You guys don't want to talk about it ever because you don't want it to be an excuse. But I was in my morning meeting and it's like the injuries. Like he had like a list, and then the O-line was banged up. Like, we're just looking at Baker here. What we don't also maybe talk about a ton is just like the OC dilemma with him. I mean, it's another one bites the dust, or one gets poached, or whatever. We went back and looked. Mm-hmm. He in his career has only had consecutive OCs once. Van Pelt, back-to-back. I think it was 2021. So now he's got another one, Zac Robinson, introduced. I give a lot of credit to Todd Bowles because he's this constant that keeps him competitive and consistent. But maybe how is that, what is this Zac Robinson guy got? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm sure, having all these different OCs, played a huge part in it. I know it'd be different for me, what I'm saying? My first whatever years, I had about, 5 different, defensive coordinators, and I know how being able to transition and how to get on the same page and try to figure out what the coaches want and how he want things to operate and stuff like that. So I can only imagine how difficult it is for Baker, with him being the quarterback of a football team. So I know there's a lot of pressure on him and stuff like that. But knowing Bake, he's going to handle it well. And, obviously having a little bit of familiarity with Zac Robinson, and, what he did with Atlanta, and how, honestly, call it spade for spade, he gave us fits, defensively with the stuff he was doing over there. So definitely looking forward to, seeing him, get the offense back going, because, you got the weapons, you got the guys, and you got Bake to, distribute the ball throughout to those guys. So should be exciting to see. And I'm pretty excited for Bake. And I saw a couple clips of Bake was at the press conference and stuff like that. So I know he's ready to, ready to take control.
Let's get to Super Bowl 60. Now, you played the Patriots earlier this season. There's this moment where Drake comes up to you and he downplays his running ability, right? Talking about a spy. What? Is that just gamesmanship? What is he trying to do there? What did you make of that moment?
Yeah, I think he was this year. I think he had the most scrambles up the middle or something like that throughout the season. And at that point, he was doing the same thing. And I was designated to spy him in our game on certain calls, and I was spying him. And he was like, "Come on, man, why they got you spying me?" I said, basically saying why we spying you, just because you were scrambling. You take off up the middle. He was basically saying, trying to downplay his ability and things like that. I'm like, come on, man, you're a young guy. And look, these clips right here, he took him to the Super Bowl off of just scrambling and running the football. So, I was able to, minimize that for the most part. But we definitely should have got that win. I wanted that one big.
I want more designed runs for him if the Patriots are to win the Super Bowl, I think, against the Seahawks. And, obviously I talked to the pass rush this morning about how great Seattle is at that. How worried should the Seahawks be about Drake's legs? Maybe that's a good question for you.
Yeah, it brings a different dynamic. Me being a linebacker, I hate going against scrambling quarterbacks, running quarterbacks, because you don't have nobody to account for them. You got to be able to fight off a block and, go, beat somebody or anticipate certain things. But sometimes, you just got to let the play out. And then when you have those design runs, those designated runs, those QB sweeps, and things like that, things that Josh Allen do and Lamar Jackson, those guys do, it's kind of, difficult. It's unstoppable, to be honest with you. But,
He's unstoppable.
I mean, it is because you got an extra guy and extra guy to block, and the quarterback can run free. But after just watching Seattle defense, man, those guys are hungry. Those guys be hunting. Led over there by my guy Ernest Jones. So I know those guys gonna be ready for those certain type of things. But knowing Josh McDaniel, I don't think he'll probably run him purposely as much. Yeah, I think Drake may might do it on his own on the scramble.
If he's watching that game against you guys, Josh, with his visor in his office, he's watching Baker run all over them.
Yeah.
Baker ran for like 60 yards against them. Just saying. I don't know. And y'all won the game.
I think it was more scrambling though, and
not design stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting. On the Seahawks side, my friend, you had the game-sealing interception on Sam back in week 5. Yeah. What did you see here?
Yeah, it was the same blitz that I said that we like to call, but I gave it to Savasi this time because I wanted to make a play, and I had making a play on my mind. We was that game right there, man. The play needed to be made, and we was hunting for one. We wasn't doing our best defensively, and I told him to take the blitz no matter what. And I said I'm gonna cover and I'm gonna try to go get a pick. And truth be told, that was what happened, and I was able to make it. That's why I was so excited right here. Talking my stuff. Doing my little rundown impersonation and things like that. And it was a fun football game. And Seattle, you knew right then and there. I feel like if we would have did our part, I think we'd be able to get back to them, match back up with them in the playoffs. But we knew there was going to be a team to be reckoned with after that game.
What do you think this game comes down to from your eyes? How does it go?
I think takeaway is the best. It's going to be a defensive football game, in my opinion, honestly. After watching these two defenses go at it all year, making plays throughout the playoffs. And I think whoever creates the most turnovers is going to win this game. And I think, Seattle got those guys who can do that. With the playmakers they got with Spoon, with Ernest, like I said, with Marcus Lawrence, rushing the passer and all those guys. So I think they can get it done with that. But my boy Carlton Davis over there in New England now. So a piece of me wanted to win another one. I talked to him after the game. He ended up calling me. We had a good little conversation and stuff like that.
What did he say?
He's just excited. You know what I'm saying? Like, as you're going throughout the year, you're just taking it one game at a time. And at the end of the day, you look up and you in the Super Bowl again. And he was like, it just happened so fast. And he's excited. And he's happy to get after it, happy to get it again. And then I told him I kind of like was happy for him when he had those interceptions in the divisional round. I was messing with him like, by the time you finally catch the football, So, it was fun to see that though. But that's like my little brother, man. That's my guy. And I definitely want to see him succeed.
I keep thinking about who the next guy is that you guys pass the torch to in a long time from now, because you're not going anywhere. But when you and we'll talk about Luke here in a minute and Bobby, I just always, and I think it's probably annoying to you, I always just lump y'all together because y'all are, and you're, by the way, entirely too nice to each other. And I hate it. Like, you're too kind to each other as line. I've always wanted you to hate each other. Why is that impossible?
Because it's just a respect thing. When you kind of like watch guys from college and then how to watch them succeed in the NFL and the league, and you go through that same journey, that grind, and know what it takes. And then you see those guys succeeding. It's hard to dislike somebody who's kind of like putting in the same work as you and having the same passion for the game as you, and you just basically kind of like looking at yourself in the mirror. You're not gonna hate yourself, So, but,
that's good. That's a good line.
Guys, yeah, those my boys though, man. Those my boys.
I know, but Levante, the Hall of Fame is wildin' these days.
The Hall of Fame is crazy.
So it's like, what is even the lesson right now with this? Because our boy's a finalist again. He didn't get first ballot. His career was short. I love Luke Kuechly, as you do. If he doesn't get in, are we just out? Are we is there a world where he doesn't? What would your reaction be? Can you imagine?
Yeah, if he don't get in, I have no shot. Let's call it space for space. I have no shot if Luke don't get in. Because, for a long time in this league, he was the linebacker, the prototypical linebacker everybody wanted. And, even though he played an 8-year career, he dominated in those 8 years. So that's what it all matters. That's what it all comes down to. His career was derailed by injuries, like most people. But in that time that he played, he was a force on the field. And if I could vote, he'd definitely get